Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
This post-fight interview is brought to you by MMA Mental, MMA Worldwide and YourMMA.tv. It is sponsored by Almighty Fightwear. For more post-fight interviews from the biggest promotions, please subscribe to the MMA Mental YouTube channel. Also, like MMAmental.com, MMA Worldwide, Your MMA and Almighty Fightwear on Facebook. And on Twitter, please follow at MMA Mental, at Your MMA and at Almighty MMA. I'm now joined by Colin Fletcher. Colin's coming off a split decision win at Bamma 15 over Tony Hervey. Colin, thank you very much for joining me.
No problem, buddy. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Congratulations on picking up another victory.
No, thank you.
Before we talk about the fight, as always with you, it's not just about the in-cage, it's the out-cage. Well, let's talk a little bit about the entrance. Do you want to explain to people the entrance and the thought process behind it?
Yeah, I think people are starting to realise now that I don't take a lot of things very seriously. So basically, last time I fought on Bamma, I wanted to come out on a horse. So we had a horse made. It was like a big statue horse. We had to put on wheels and things like that. And Bamma killed him in the end. They said health and safety reasons we couldn't use the horse I'd kind of had prepared and things like that. So this time I was just adamant that I was going to get the ride out on a horse. So Pantomime Sally it was. And it was Grand National Day as well. So I thought it was quite fitting.
You got a great reaction from the crowd. I mean, the people that were in the arena, they absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So then, you were facing an American fighter, Tony Hervey. What were your views on Tony going into the fight?
I mean, I did quite a little bit of research on Tony. He was King of the Cage champion over in America, and to be honest with you, he looked a very, very tough guy, and I think some of the guys from Bamma had mentioned that he was pretty tricky for them to match up and stuff, and a lot of people were a bit dubious of fighting him because his record didn't really suggest how good he was, you know what I mean? I think most of his wins have been via knockout, and most of his losses have been either submission or decision against fantastic fighters like Takanori Gomi, Mike Rishi, and to name a few, you know what I mean? I think I didn't underestimate him at all. I went in there very cautious, like I like to go into every fight, you know what I mean, with a big possibility that he would get the decision, you know what I mean? So with that in mind, I was excited to fight him.
Now, it's fair to say, I mean, you're obviously a very well-rounded fighter. His strength was his striking. Was you not tempted to? I mean, in the first round, of course, you both stood and traded. It was quite a fast-paced first round. You won the first round on the judges' scorecard. How did you feel the first round went?
Just like you say, I mean, I watched it back and I kind of felt the same way. I thought I felt no urgency to take him to the ground and try and submit him because I thought I'd won the first round. I thought basically I was kind of stalking him down. I was leading off with shots. He was trying to counter. Sometimes he was successful and sometimes he wasn't. But in those instances, I was leading off. He was trying to counter, and then I would capitalise on him countering me and recounter him. So I thought I was striking first and last in all the exchanges. You know what I mean? And I felt like that in the fight. You know what I mean? So I was quite comfortable with the way the fight was going.
Now, the second round was a little bit closer. Then he kind of finished the second round quite strong. He caught you with a few big shots. How hurt were you from those shots?
I wasn't hurt at all, you know what I mean? He did catch his flush on the chin, you know what I mean? I mean, he's a very unorthodox fighter. He was switching from southpaw to orthodox and back again all the time. So it was very hard to read, you know what I mean? I think he stepped in and threw a big left hook, which caught us on the chin, you know what I mean, and kind of wobbled us a little bit, but it didn't really feel like it was ever going to put us in the position to be knocked out, you know what I mean? I kind of regained my footing and threw some big heavy strikes back myself to kind of say, look, I'm still in this, you know what I mean? I threw like some hard head kicks and kind of tried to march him back down, which towards the end resulted in him kind of slowing the pace, you know what I mean? I think if he'd been anywhere near knocking us out, he should have, he would have capitalised on that and tried to press the action, which he didn't, because when he wobbled, he gritted me teeth and then got straight back into the fight. So on that basis, I did give him the second round, you know what I mean? But I don't think I was ever anywhere near finished.
So yeah, on what you've just said, and it certainly appeared with the way you finished the second round that, you know, you took round 1, he took round 2. What was your corner's advice going into that third round?
They kind of said the same, you know what I mean? They said, you won the first, he's won the second, so you need to make sure that you win this third round. And I did, you know what I mean? Although he caught us with a bit of a very unorthodox punch, which cut the top of my head. I think that was just more visually exciting than anything else, you know what I mean? But to be fair, considering that, I don't think if you take it in its context, you know what I mean? I think he kind of jumped in the air, knocked on my head with his knuckles, which I've never seen before, you know what I mean? And it did open a little cut on the top of my head, which kind of made my face look awesome for pictures.
Yeah.
But I was still pressing the action, you know what I mean? And I think that round was very much like the first round in kind of the regard that I marched him down, I pushed him around, I kept putting his back on the fence, and he was just trying to counter as best as he did. But to be honest with you, I think what Tony did well throughout the fight was avoid well, you know what I mean? I think most of the work I felt I was doing, you know what I mean? And I felt that throughout the fight, which is why I think watching it back, the commentators give us a bit of a hard time, but I think that was unjust, really, because I was pressing the action, I was looking to fight him. He was kind of countering, and towards the end, he was trying to take me down, which from a guy who openly admits he doesn't want to take anybody down and lie on them, and he doesn't really believe in submissions. He's more of a stand-up striker. I think that kind of says a little bit more about his mentality going towards the end of the fight than mine, you know what I mean, where I was kind of playing him at his strengths, which I was confident I was winning, and he must have been a little bit more panicked that he needed that takedown to secure the fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was a close fight, and like we'd said, rounds 1 and round 2 seemed pretty clear cut. Round 3 wasn't as clear cut, of course. 2 judges gave it to you, 1 judge didn't. How confident were you that it went for the decision, that you'd won the decision?
Not very, you know what I mean? I'm never confident when it goes through a decision which way it's going to go. That's why I openly held up my hands and said, you know what I mean? It was a close fight, and if I hadn't won the decision, I would have openly held my hands up and said, judges' decisions are judges' decisions. But when I watched it back, I kind of thought I did a bit more in the third round than I felt I did. You know what I mean? I think the little cut, although it might have swayed one of the judges, I kind of think the third round was pretty much similar to the first for me. I was doing all the work. You know what I mean? If you watch the fight back, obviously with the sound off, you know what I mean, which is kind of annoying because I think some people who aren't as watch these things and they hear what the commentators are saying, and it's easy to agree with them when someone's saying that, you know what I mean? But they were basically everything he did well, they were picking up on, and all the things I was doing well, you know what I mean? They never seemed to mention. But if you watch it with the sound off, like the Hill sketch, you know what I mean? I basically chased him round, and I do appreciate that some people can win fights on their back foot, but I think I was striking and landing a lot more than he was, really, you know what I mean? It was just he was doing kind of strange kickboxery type things, and may have looked a little bit more interesting.
How did you feel after the fight? I mean, it was a 3-round fight. You got any knocks or injuries, and when would you like to get back in and compete again?
No, I mean, I'm absolutely fine just sitting, going to take the kids to the park and have a bit of a muck about with them. But no, injuries-wise, other than that very strange knuckly punchy through which landed on my head, nothing really, you know what I mean? I normally tend to have a few more, like a big elephant leg and a few more bruises and bumps and stuff on my face, so better to be unscathed. But I spoke to Bamma yesterday and kind of let them know to keep me in the loop for when their next event is, so I can either get on that or look at what's going to happen in the near future. But I'm just waiting for options at the moment. So,
are you tied in with Bamma, or can you fight under the promotions as well?
I've got one more fight left with Bamma, but so yeah, basically I'm just waiting to see what they've got going on, really.
Well, congratulations on picking up another victory, and thank you very much for giving me your time today.
Oh, no problem, man, anytime.
And before we let it go, I just want to give you a chance to do some shout-outs. If you'd like to shout out your Facebook and your Twitter, and then any friends, family, sponsors you want to shout out as well.
Yeah, I mean, my Twitter is Dr_Freakshow on Twitter, and Colin the Freak Show Fletcher, which I believe you can only follow on us now. I've maxed out my friends by being a bit of a pussy and letting everybody be my friends, so I don't only have followers now. But and regarding people to thank, just everybody, you know what I mean, all these people who get along and watch me fights, all the people who still think my style is fun to watch, you know what I mean, because for a little bit of time I thought I was becoming a bit of a joke, and people like were telling us on a bit of a regular basis. So to just find out people still enjoy what I do is a massive thing to me, you know what I mean? And I want to thank people for that and getting along and still supporting us.
Well, I can't wait till you step back into the cage again, Colin.
Oh, thank you, buddy.